secondary, added 2 new guys to the secondary with this draft class, Xavier and Billy. Just kind of curious your initial thoughts, knowing that you were going to go into this offseason and kind of get some reinforcements there.
Yeah, well, I thought our management did a great job, and the scouts, going through, talking to us about what do we want, what do we look for in players. I thought they did a great job in the off season, and say, hey, this is who we have, this is what your picture of, and then getting Xavier, who we thought was a really good football player at Notre Dame. Again, you look at him, all he does is make plays, solid guy, understand what he's supposed to do, and then you put Billy with him, who's a little bit different, a little bit more aggressive, a little bit fire. I'm probably, nickname him Fire and Ice because they're probably the same. One guy's different way, another guy. You can kind of, when you talk to him, you can see the same thing too. So, those guys are going to be great for our room. We're basically trying to create more competition, get our current players playing better at a higher level, and then guess what? If that happens, then they're going to make us better.
It was interesting. We were talking to Kyle Smith 45 minutes ago, and he made the comment that the evaluation of Xavier Watts specifically was a very clean evaluation because of everything he had done at Notre Dame, greatly aligned with exactly what y'all would want him to do here, and the way his play style aligned with what y'all want to do. Can you kind of speak to that and kind of your evaluation of him?
Well, when you look at him and you see the what he's doing at Notre Dame, right? You see that he can play to the field, he can play to the boundary, he can actually play basically shell defense on what they're doing. If he needs to come down in the core, he can come down in the core. So you have a complete guy that when you look at him, it's like, oh, is he not flashy? Was he doing this? But then you look back and say, okay, well, he has 13 interceptions in 2 years. So he's doing something right at a solid and high level. So that's kind of what I look at it in a safety. When I'm evaluating guys, I want to know what can you do without me teaching you. And you can see that there's a lot of things he's doing. Not saying that Notre Dame's not teaching him, but you can see he's actually making plays on the football field. So when he get out here, he'll be able to figure it out a lot faster. He doesn't have to read the book and have to go through step by step by step in order to make plays.
There's typically a learning curve, obviously, when guys get to the NFL, and what you're asking them to do is quite a bit different than when they were in college often times. But when you look at these guys, how much do you feel like there's going to be that big of a learning curve, if not much at all?
Well, it's always big at the beginning. Those guys are leaving something that they're comfortable with. Yep. I'm leaving Notre Dame, I'm leaving Oklahoma, and I've been there for 3 or 4 years. And man, I know what the parking spots is. I know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. So now when they come here, everything's going to be new. They're going through their freshman year in their mind again. And what I always try to get guys to understand is that how fast can I get you in your 5th year or your 4th year? Even though you're here in Atlanta as a rookie, I want to get you back comfortable. I want to get you back to where you can play at a high level, play fast, let your abilities take over other than you going through step by step by step, and it takes you a rookie year to figure it out. And, really, you don't have a lot of time, for young guys to wait a long time. They're athletic, they're good, and you can see it. You look at those 2 guys, I think they were 1 and 2 in NCAA in interceptions. So they're actually making plays. How fast can we get them going with our group so they can make more plays?
How much was it hard to believe that Xavier was there in the 3rd round?
It was hard, because I know I evaluate him a lot higher. And when things happen like that, it happens for a reason. We got a good group of guys, but when you put a guy like Xavier to come in, who we understand, you look at JD that we got last year from Notre Dame, solid coach, great player, understood what he's supposed to do, stepped in real fast. Hopefully we can get him doing the same thing. And now you got another good football player who's young that can go step in and help make plays right now in his rookie year.
What excites you about the 2 young pass rushers that you guys were able to get in the first round? Their capability?
Oh yeah, you get a chance to watch guys play and rush, and I know that was always one of our big needs. Hey, are you getting pass rushers? Are you getting pass rushers? And we actually got some good guys here in free agency, but also when you add young guys to that room, that's only going to make you better. These guys can rush. They're good at what they're doing, and they're young. See, when you get younger guys, 21, 22 years old, that can pass rush. I just remember being in Tennessee. I was lucky enough to be on that staff, back in '99. We drafted a guy named Javon Curse. And this guy was a rookie. He doesn't know anything, but all of a sudden at the end of the year, you go into the Super Bowl and he has 15 sacks. So no one is going to know anything about our young guys because they're going to be scouting the old guys. So the young guys got a better chance, especially at pass rush.
Were you surprised to see that they were able to trade back up and get James?
To me, I think that was phenomenal. To trade up and get a guy that's 6'5.5" that can run a 4.5, 4.4. You don't find guys like that. And then to get back into the first round and do that, I think they did a great job. I
don't think we've spoken to you since the decision to bring Jeff Ulbrich on as defensive coordinator and him bringing guys like Rudy in. I'm curious kind of the assimilation and the process between marrying kind of what you guys were already doing and what Jeff wants to evolve to.
Well, what's funny is that I knew Jeff when he first got into coaching. I was actually in Seattle. I was a secondary coach there, so we brought Jeff over, and he was assistant special teams coach. And then, long story short, go to another job, and I meet Rudy. So I've known those guys for a long time. And then to be over here, I know what they bring to our team. They're going to bring some grit, some toughness, smartness, and they got a scheme that they've been really successful with in New York. Getting a chance to see if that fits over here, with Rye and the things that we've done here in the last couple of years, I think it's going to be great for us.
James is more of like the modern day defensive end. He's slender, he's tall, he's quick. You mentioned his speed. That was on full display at the Combine, obviously. Would you like to see him be a little bit heavier, or do you kind of like where he's at? And
to me, I like to see what guys like to do at their, best for them. And then we're going to, of course, we got our strength and conditioning and nutritionist going to talk to him about that. But the biggest thing you want to do is you want to see the guy come out and be comfortable with what he's good at. If he's at 245, 250, and it doesn't hurt him, let him play at that. If he needs to get a little bit heavier, let him do that. But to me, when you get a guy that can play right now at what he's really, really good at, if it's 245 and he's not getting knocked off the ball, let him do that.
What was going through your head when he ran that 40 time at the Combine?
Let him come to us.
Coach, how do you look at the group of second-year players you're going to have on defense? What are you looking for guys from guys like Rook and Brandon and JD? Obviously, Braylon we didn't get the chance to see last year. What are you looking for out of that group?
Well, you're looking for those guys to almost be like, hey, it's your time now. Mm-hmm. I want to play. I want to go out there and compete. I want to compete at a high level. And they know what our routine is. You're not a rookie anymore. So we're not expecting you to act like a rookie. We're expecting you to act like, hey, coach, I want to go out here and I want to be the starting defensive tackle, starting defensive end. And then the guys that we just drafted, now can you go compete against those guys? Because if you're ready to start in your mind and then they're ready to start, we're going to be really good. Because we're going to be competing in practice. And I think that's what we're trying to get the young guys to do. You can't wait to play. You got to want to play. And now let's go compete to do that.
That's about Rook in particular. What are the areas you want to see him grow in year two?
Well, really, I know he got hurt a little bit last year, got a chance to come back, but you love to see what he did when he was in college. He could win one-on-one with the guard. He can do those things. That's what we're expecting Rook to do, because if Rook can do that, and then you got guys outside that can win one-on-one, now you can't double-team people. But if you can't win inside, then they just block inside out. They double-team you, and they got what they want. So we got to get someone that can win inside. Rook's young, he's athletic. Again, he like I talked about earlier, you need young guys with energy that can win the one-on-ones and that make everybody else better.
It's interesting because, for the first time in a decade, Grady Jarrett won't be a part of this team. And he's been kind of the moniker and the cornerstone of being the heart and soul of this defensive unit for a very long time. I feel like I could probably know your answer in this, but who takes over that mantle?
Well, to me, I think it's going to be really organic. But right now, you look at it, you got Jesse, you got AJ. You look in there, you have, couple other guys that are older that says, you know what, I know Grady isn't here. We respected him a lot for what he did for this organization, and now maybe it's my time to step up. So to me, I think it's going to be a couple of defensive linemen step up. That people are like, okay, who's going to be? And I don't want to say it's going to be this guy, that guy. I want them to be that guy out on the football field, and then all of a sudden it happens. It's the same thing that Jesse did. When Jesse first got here, he was real quiet. People were like, oh, I thought he was a leader. And what happens is most good leaders leaders are not voiceful. They go out there and they do their job at a high level, and then the leadership comes to them, especially when you're new to this team. So to me, I think it's going to happen organically. The guys who wasn't drafted here, you're going to see there's a couple of guys going to say, okay, it's time for me to take over, and I think they're going to do that.
Does it feel like a more athletically dynamic defense to you after these draft picks?
Yeah, I mean, to me, anytime you get guys that are, projected to go like Xavier, I thought he was a number one to me, and you got guys like that are athletic, that can make plays. Billy's very fast, he's athletic. And then you put the young man from the University of Georgia, Javon, you put our defensive end from Tennessee. You put those athletic guys on the field, to me, I look at it and say they make plays in space way easier. So now it doesn't look as bad if you miss a tackle. And it happens all the time because every offense is trying to create space, and we want more athletic guys on the field to where if we're in space, we can make that tackle. So it looks routine, and I think that's the difference. And when you get athletic guys like we've gotten and we put in with the other guys that we got here, I think you're going to be better.
Really excited about Walker too, man, what he can do. Like, that guy can really rush inside over guards. So really, we should start thinking about like our third down rush group, putting them overside, like rushing over guards, kind of put them like in a spinner package and things like that, man. Just excited of everything we can do with the pass rusher, man. It's exciting.
How do you control that though? Like, because you say, hey, we got all these many options and what we can do. How do you kind of dwindle it down to where you still maximize the player?
Yeah, so we all know, man, how the NFL and how the game is going, man. It's like most of these games, you're not blowing nobody out. Like, these games are lost at the end of the minute, in the 2 minute in the second half, or end of the 2 minute in the fourth quarter. And you need everybody. You can never have enough rushers. Really, I stamp that. I stand on that, man. You can never have enough rushers. So when a guy gets tired, you can just go in ways. Everything we trying to do now, it's like we trying to be like Mike Tyson and throw haymakers. Like, we getting off the ball, attacking, throwing haymaker, no jabs. You know what I mean? No jab. It's all haymakers that we trying to do. And you need rushers, man. You need rush. And with Jock coming in, man, and Timo and all that, we're going to establish that.
Coming out of Chicago, how do you feel your upbringing helped you get to where you are now?
Man, that's a long story now. We can talk about that. We can talk about that all day, man. Just like growing up in Chicago, growing up in the inner city, it's kind of funny because some people, when they say they from Chicago, then you ask them what part, and they throw out a suburb, and I'm like, nah, I'm from the city of Chicago.
Same in Atlanta.
Yeah, like same thing. Like, I'm actually from the city of Chicago. So just that, man, having my mom raise me, like, kind of grew up with my mom, my grandparents, and grew up like in a 2-bedroom apartment, 3-bedroom apartment, man. We all just stayed in there, man, and just working hard and, just hard work, man. I think it was down there just to teach you hard work, and just excited to be where I'm at right now, man. It's a blessing.
Appreciate
What
you,
was it about the Falcons that drew you to Atlanta?
Man, just exciting to be able to work with Brick again, and then too, like, work with Brick over there with the Jets, and just excited about getting in the attack front. Just love it, man. Been in the attack style front since we've been in the league, and I just want to keep that going, man. Get these guys going and unlock everything.
Your first draft here, and you get 2 guys that'll benefit your attack of plan. How blessed do you feel after this draft?
Blessed, man. Working, like keep saying, like working with Jock. Like, we're gonna be working together, man, getting these guys rolling, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, man. But like I said, we can never have enough rushers. Got a lot of rushers, man. Working with these guys and getting these guys getting off the ball, man. I'm just excited about it. Really excited about it.
Were you like clued into like, hey, we were gonna try to move up to get?
Nah. Kind of they did a good job, like, man. But like, I was in there just yelling, man, let them cook. Let Terry, let Kyle, man, let them guys cook, man. Really excited about it. It's probably one of the best drives I've been a part of. Just really excited about what they did, depending, really doing a good job of getting the stuff on defense, and just excited about, I'm just like cheesing right now. Just really just excited about the guys we get to work with, man. It's getting like waves of pass rush. Can't say it enough. We have waves of pass rush when guys get tired. We talk about like having like no weak links and not missing a beat. So we want guys getting off on the football. Like I keep saying, we throwing haymakers, and it's hard to do that for 60 plays in a row, right? So you need waves of guys that go out there, because you think about the offensive line, they don't sub, right? We sub, right? We're going to sub, and you get waves of pass rush. It's going to be fun.
The attack style, why do you feel like that works? And like, you subscribe to it and are coaching it.
Yeah, so it's just really like whatever you I'm convicted in it. Whatever you convicted in, we didn't have success in it. As far as like defensive line success in it with attack style, and that's just what I've been accustomed to since I've been in the league. It's a lot of ways to win. You can read. Some guys, read, stay on the line. But all I know is get off the ball and attack. That's all I know. So no, you ask me anything, I'm just gonna say get off.
I know you can't compare Rook and Brandon necessarily to where they were a year ago here, but from what you've seen on film to what you see now with your eyes, what kind of players are they now versus then?
Oh man, love it. Actually, really, because I was over in Houston last year and was watching them when they came out of college. Really love what this attack front can help Rook out with, like getting him off the ball, flying off the ball, taking the thinking out, and just get that guy just going, right? And he can. What we talk about, Rook is special because Rook can win in the B gap. Like a lot of rushers, like especially like 3 techniques, guys that can win in the B gap. And also we talking about thrash rush, guys that can work with power. So really excited to work with Rook with that. All right, talking about Brandon, right? Brandon is like our special, what do you call it, utility weapon, like, because Brandon's going to have to do some stuff inside, and we're going to actually put Brandon out on the edge this year. So that's going to be good right here. Like, Brandon has to be a mismatch versus the tight ends, right? Destroy tight ends. And we're excited to see what Brandon Doyless can do. And also, too, like, we talk about Brandon going inside and rushing. He's very, like, when he was in Oregon, like, this guy can rush inside, and we talking about winning in the B gap that way. So really excited to work with both of those guys in the pass rush.
So do you think what you're going to do stylistically, going back to what you said about Rook, will stylistically fit Rook better than what they were doing last year?
Yeah, so like I said, this be me, Jock, Timu. We all be teaming up, man, and what we're going to do with these guys here, man, get these guys fixing their stands, get them on their track, and just letting them go. All right, letting them go. I would say the saying we got in there, but I just say right now, we say GTFO. All right, you can take it what that means right there, all right? So that's the kind of what we saying, we're GTFO, and that's what we want those guys to do.
How does Zach Harrison fit along your front?
Same thing, man. Zach, really loved Zach when he came out. Really putting Zach out. Zach's going to be out at edge for us. So we call that like our big end. So Zach could be like our big end and really feel like we can unlock Zach and do a lot of stuff and get him going off the football and not thinking and being a mismatch versus tight ends. And also, too, believe that Zach has a little bit in his body to win off on the edge, too, as well. So Zach is kind of a utility weapon. Him and Doyless to be like our big ends. And saying like Zach has to be an ambassador, right? We're talking about being an ambassador of being a mismatch versus a tight end around the league.
You seem pretty fired up about Brandon Doyless. What gives you that excitement?
Man, I really liked him coming out. This guy can rush. Like, you see on my mind, I'm always thinking about rush, right? Pass rush, pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. So really just excited about working with Doyless, like what he can do, and just really unlocking everything about him. We kind of think about him when I kind of got to Indy, was kind of working with Dio Dangbo. Like, kind of got there. Dio was like year 2, and got to see Dio for 2 years grow. Like, first year he had like 5 with us, then this next year he had like 8.5. And just watching him, seeing him growing like that type of role, it'll be fun. He actually asked for some Dio Dangbo tape today, so that was actually pretty good.
I'm Diablo. This first time that I think I've had the chance to talk to you about that acquisition, kind of your overall thoughts and what he brings to the room.
Extremely high-end athlete. He's long, he's fast, really comfortable playing in space. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to benefit a ton from being put on repeat, being able to, really hone in on certain techniques and doing them over and over again. But really excited about what he brings to the table, especially as far as just the ability to play in space and cover a lot of ground for us.
To that point, I know he was a college safety turned pro linebacker, and that's something that I think Jeff Ulbrich has done in the past year. Foye Oluokun has the same kind of mold and makeup. What about that skill set and maybe that journey shows up in Divine's play as you can see it when you're watching film?
Sure. Just what I was talking about, I think when you're a back-end player moving up, you see the comfort level in coverage. You see the comfort level in zone drops, playing man coverage, and then you put a little more work in the run game, in the run fits, taking on blocks, stuff like that. We kind of feel it's easier to teach that part of the game than be able to teach speed and feel and coverage. So I think it's a pretty natural transition for a lot of those guys. I know Divine was a Virginia Tech safety, and he played down by the line of scrimmage some, but his comfort level playing in space really intrigued us.
It's interesting, obviously get Jalen Walker and James Pierce Jr. in the draft, 2 first-round picks. As you're kind of looking at someone like Caden Ellis and how adding those 2 guys could benefit Caden specifically, how do you kind of weigh that in your brain as you're looking at potentially getting these guys on the roster?
Yeah, sure. I mean, number one, you got 2 guys that are very, very good at getting after the quarterback. That's what Caden really brings to the table from an inside linebacker perspective too. So I would imagine, it would really free up all 3 of them. In all reality, it's, where do you want to put the tough block on? Do you want to give the running back to on Jalen Walker now? Do you want to give the running back on James Pierce now? So it's very intriguing. We got to be careful at the same time not to do too much, where you know, because you can have a lot of fun with those guys, but you can also overwhelm a team too, trying to move everybody around. So we got to find our sweet spot, but you know, you never shy away from good players. Nice.
And last question for me. When it came, this is the first time that we're speaking since Jeff Ulbrich came in, and you know, brought in guys like Rudy, and I'm curious kind of what the assimilation process was of molding together the philosophies of what you guys had last year to what he's wanting to do now.
Yeah, it's been really cool. It's been a lot of fun. You know, I mean, I guess big picture things, you know, both Brick and Rudy, they kind of come from my background as well.
Right.
You know, I mean, they were kind of the Pete Carroll system, Gus Bradley system, who all learned from Monty Kiffin, who, you know, my dad played for Monty Kiffin, I played for Monty Kiffin, you know, Raheem got his start with Monty Kiffin. Yeah. So big picture football philosophy, a lot of that stuff is similar, but it's been really cool to see how they've developed their system with the Jets. And you can almost date it back to the Jacksonville Jaguars and 49ers as well. But it's been a lot of fun. And then, you know, same thing I said earlier, though, you got to be very careful of not to do too much. You got to pick and choose what you really like and what really fits best with your personnel. And then, you know, then it's about just really honing in on those details and getting really good at it during the offseason.
Getting with our personnel department, us showing our vision for what the defense looks like, them showing us their vision, and then couple that with Raheem's vision. It's a lot of really cool conversations, collaborations that led us to get 2 elite players in that first round, and to continue to get elite players with Xavier and with Billy Bowman, guys who are extremely versatile in coverage. Xavier is a really unique safety with his ball skills, with his versatility, with his instincts. And I mentioned earlier, we're talking about a guy who loves football. He's got the right DNA. He's got Falcon DNA. And Billy Bowman, had the privilege of doing a private workout with him, and it didn't take me but 5 minutes to recognize this guy loves football. I was getting ready to head to dinner. He wanted to keep grinding on tape. And then when we went to dinner, he kept talking about football. And then the next morning, there was no small talk. It was keep going on football. And when we got on the grass, out in the walkthrough, I could see why this guy is unanimously loved by everybody he's connected with. So not only the process with the personnel department, but the result of it is something that is going to be really excited, and we're excited about the product that hopefully we're going to be able to put on the field.
Brick was in here on Saturday, and he said that you guys actually wanted to trade up to get Bowman to make sure that was seal that deal, get him.
Yeah. I wasn't privy to all that information about trading up, but I would have been in favor of it. He's a guy who has shown elite coverage skills. He can match on a slot. He has really good short area quickness, and when you're matched on the slot, no matter the scheme, but especially for what we do, it requires unique skill set. It requires short area quickness. It requires long speed. On top of that, it requires you to trigger in the run game. He's kind of like a baby backer. And Billy has that in him, and it takes some DNA to do that. And he's built from the right stuff. It takes elite film study, and he does that. So that's why we're super excited for him.
From afar in your career, what have your opinions of Jesse Bates been?
He's one of those rare players that you hear all of this about him, and you've evaluated him coming out of college and in free agency. And then you meet him, and he's better than that. Not only as a player, but as a person. He's so unique he's a true combination of leader and elite player. He's welcomed me, which I'm super, super appreciative of. He's a total force multiplier, along with guys in that room, AJ Terrell. These are guys who make people better around them. They've already helped me and made our scheme better and made me better as a coach through our conversation. So really, really excited to help him, really excited to build on some of the things that he's done. And as him and I have already started collaborating, excited to help with wherever he wants to go in terms of his game.
How does that help a defensive back?
Well, shoot, I don't know if I've ever coached on a defense that didn't emphasize taking the ball away, right? So when you look at these guys, I think X had somewhere around 13 the past 2 years, and then you look at Billy over the course of his career, he's at 11. So some of those ball skills come from them, being able to play receiver, catch the ball, track the ball, all those things. But, like I said, I've never been a part of a defense that didn't emphasize, taking the ball away. So we're excited about it.
with those interception counts, what allows that? What is it about each of them that gets them in the double digits?
Yeah, well, to get in the double digits, you got to be special. Like, it's extremely tough, and I don't care what level of football you play. And then from there, you know, it's their football IQ, right? You talk to both these guys, you do their interviews, and you leave. Like, I remember doing their interviews and writing down my notes. Like, these guys are high-level thinkers on the football field, extremely high FBI. So, you know, when you talk about those things and their ability to go get the football, it's not only the ability to catch it, it's the ability to put themselves in position and understand how the offense is attacking them to go make those plays.
And with Xavier specifically, how do you see him fitting into the safety room?
Yeah, it's going to be competition. He's going to come in and learn, and you know, I talked to Jesse about it. Jesse's just excited to teach him, right? So it'll be fun. And same thing talking to Marco and all these guys. Like, yeah, I mean, no one shies away from competition. We're excited to get him in there, and we know he's going to work hard because that's his character. And then, shoot, however he plays, and we'll implement him. It'll be nice.
How is DeMarco doing from his injury?
Yeah, DeMarco's doing well. He's working and progressing, so it's been good.
What makes him special? Because I feel like everyone has talked so much about Jesse or even Jordan coming in. Yeah. But DeMarco, he missed last season, but what is he bringing this year?
He's going to pick right back up where he left off last year. I love DeMarco's demeanor. You talk about what makes him different and special. At safety, you always talk about, like, you want a guy that can be an enforcer. If you've ever spent any time with DeMarco, that's kind of his mentality. A little bit more stern, more serious. He's definitely the enforcer back there, and he's getting better every single day, so we're excited to see him compete as well.
What's the learning curve like from SEC pass rusher to NFL? I mean, how much is going to be on these guys, going back to the first rounders, obviously, to get up to speed?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's the small details of learning how to be a pro. Your approach to studying is not college. Obviously, the college game is a little bit different than the pro game. Obviously, with the quarterback, the drop back spots, things of that nature. It's just small little details that go into pass rusher that, you know, we're going to try to get these guys up to speed as quickly as possible. And once they pick it up, then we'll see where we go from there.
How do you look at the edge group as a whole now? Because it looks very different than it did like 2 months ago. 2 first-rounders, Leonard Floyd. We'll see how Braylon's coming along. How do you look at the group as a whole?
Yeah, I think you've got a room full of competitors. Those guys are hungry. And, you know, you try to always raise the floor in your room. And obviously we've got some talented guys that we want to try to put in position to be productive for us. Obviously, talent doesn't mean anything. They're going to have to go out and prove it. Everybody's going to have to go out there and work, strive. But ultimately, you know, like I said, you got a big pot of gumbo. You just want it to taste good, you know.